Hey there, beer loving dads, and welcome back to another episode of Two Dads Having a Beer. This is your ultimate hangout. This is for you guys who have kids, and obviously those fathers who enjoy their kids. It does make this show a little bit better. This is a show where we love to have a good laugh. Definitely have a nice cold brew, and we do have some dad talk. And we always have a new guest every single week. So before we dive into any of those dad shenanigans, let me set the scene for you, right? Picture this. There's two guys in front of you, right? Two dads, each armed with our own beverage. And we're going to be swapping stories, telling jokes and funny stories. Look at you, man. You got some good stuff. And obviously, each week there's a new dad, a fellow warrior who is in the trenches of fatherhood and wants to chat about their life, being a dad, being an entrepreneur. And in this week, it is no different. And this week, we're going to be joined by a repeat dad. That's right. We've already had this dad on the show before, but we've never actually done it with a camera so that we could utilize a different medium. To this handsome young bearded fella who looks like a Nordic Viking. His name is Rob Swan. He is the heart of Valen Vital Health out of Edmonds, Washington. He's a seasoned nurse practitioner with a wealth of experience in family practice, emergency practice, and even urgent care. And so he understands the frustration that comes with the current state of the healthcare industry, and it gets compounded as we get older. I myself am one of those guys who is a client of his. But he set out on a mission to change the tired industry, which is impersonal, and it's a lot of hidden fees. And so he has genuine concern for your health. He has a commitment that is rooted in the principles of providing personalized professional health care. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Mr. Rob Swan.
Thanks for that introduction, Brandon.
You're welcome, man. I believe you have a wonderful website. It's loaded with info. And really cool pictures.
Yeah, well, it was well critiqued by our mutual friend Ivan.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, he's done a great job for all of us. And so we're doing this new thing, man. We're using a medium that is going to allow people to see us as we talk to each other. But at the same time, I think it's going to be a great way for you and I to kind of share our message about being a dad and about drinking beer.
Right. Cheers. What? I don't want to be a beer snob, but a Michelob Ultra.
Listen, one of the things that I love about this show is it's not saying, hey, two dads having a specialty brew. It's not two dads having an IPA. It's not two dads, being beer snobs. It's two dads having a beer. Tonight, I wanted a Michelob Ultra, something light, refreshing, and crisp.
All right. You bought into the hype, huh?
Well, you know what? I've been buying into the hype for a long time. I really do enjoy it.
You've been a Michelob Ultra fan for many years?
For many years, yeah. As long as I can remember. Well, not really. I mean, I can remember kind of a long ways back in life, but plenty of years under my belt when it comes to this beer. But I do drink quite a different variety of brews, and but tonight was just this one.
Did you go through the phases, in your early 20s when you started, buying your own beer, that were there specific beers that you started with and then moved into different beers?
You know what I love about this show is
do you remember that?
Now you're being the host and asking me questions. No, I do. I do remember doing that. And, I remember being 21 and going into the store for the first time. And it was a store, honestly, that I had already purchased beer from in the past. And so I walked in and I said to the guy behind the counter, he's like, I'd like to get this beer. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, you want to check my ID? I'm 21 now. He's like, you son of a...
Did you say that? I'm 21 now.
I'm 21 now.
You were a sucker before.
But I'm legal now.
That's it. You've been selling to me illegally for 2 years.
It was crazy, but I wasn't a big drinker then, and I'm not really a huge drinker now. I just enjoy beer, and nothing better than having a cold beer with a good friend over a nice conversation, man. So,
hey,
thanks again for joining me.
What was your starter beer?
Oh man, I really love the Sam Adams. Every freaking lineup that they had.
Sam Adams? Was that around in like 1992, 93?
Yeah, bro.
Was
It was
was it?
that's when it was like it was just in its startup phases, I believe. Like
That was a
they still it was still considered like a craft beer.
Well,
Now
that's what I
it's
was gonna say.
mainstream.
That was a very snobby beer at that time. I mean,
Yeah, there was
I
also
was
what
starting off with Coronas and PBRs and
oh
Natty Lights
I
and
always got the Natty Lights, man, of
Natty Light,
course.
man. Yeah, that was
Always
the
got those. It was the cheap, easy to get beer, and also Hams, if you remember that beer. That
I
was
don't
your
remember that one. No.
yeah, that's a throwback to why you
My
drinking that.
my Louisiana family's go-to beer for all of my life was Natty Light. And so we'd have, racks and racks of Natty Light hanging around all the time. And it takes a lot of Natty Light to get a buzz.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
Oh.
Michelob Ultras to
Oh,
get a
really?
buzz, but I really
Yeah.
do. I think that one of the things that I'm looking for nowadays in my beer is something that has really, really, s- you know, it's well rounded. Like I don't want to have a lot of like sharp, you know, flavors or bitter flavors that linger. I don't want a lot of like overpowering flavors, like like those
Mm,
stouts that come with like a chocolate or something like that.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they're tasty, but I have to be really in the mood for them. One, they're
Yeah.
super filling, and two, they leave that flavor in your mouth, and it kind of stays with you all night long. And that's not
Mm.
something that I'm super keen on. But again, I'm not a beer snob, and so I can't really talk to that.
As two out of the I guess 2 out of the 3 times you've had a show, I want to make a recommendation
I would love to hear it.
that you start the show with us together cracking our beer.
We'll edit that. Let's try it one more time. Ready?
Okay, you
One,
ready?
two, three.
Oh God, I couldn't get it up. There it
Well,
is.
that's one of the good things about the business that you're in is you help guys get it up. Right? That's one of your claims to fame at Valen Vital Health.
That's right. We do work a lot with men's health, and erectile dysfunction is one of those things that men struggle with. So,
Yeah, it is. But that's
oh,
not really why we're here right now. We're going to let you talk about that. That
what did
looks,
I have last time? This is a tropical IPA.
yeah, I think that is what you had last time.
I have to admit that the only beer I have in the house is what my last roommate left. So it's a whole half rack of these weird IPAs that he left.
Okay, well, at the best, you guys at its best, you at least have a beer in the house. So,
I've got probably 7 left. So
so
so you can only have me on 7
six more
six
times.
more times.
That's so fun. No, I wanted to one thank you again for being on tonight. We you're one of my good friends, and you're always ready to help a brother out when they need it. But at the same time, I also know that you are an entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
you're really kind of pushing your time limits when it comes to really your capacity to get things done in a 40-hour work week, because you have two major responsibilities. One, the place that you work at full time for your
Mhm.
regular income, and then your business, which you're trying to grow so that can be your permanent income. So tell me a little bit about that balance act that you have with being a dad and the time that you have to give to both of those
Mm,
facets of your life.
yeah. I don't want to come across as down on myself, but I am not doing that well. I really struggle with finding that balance between the full-time job that I'm using to help fund my entrepreneurial endeavor, keeping up with the business, and then keeping up with the kids. And the one thing that I notice is I'm responding to people with the side business or with the main job while the kids are like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're on your phone again. Can we interact with you? Can we play?" And I hate that, man. I really do. So I mean, I try to intentionally put the media away, shut down the work stuff when the kids are over, and have started blocking off my schedule so that I can't get appointments scheduled or anything when I've got my kids. Whereas before I would have people scheduling appointments all day long when I wish. No, they were
Scheduling them all day long.
they're just I just can't they're just breaking on the doors like zombies in Night of the Living Dead. But
Which
anyway,
is a good movie, by the way.
fantastic movie. I think one of the best zombie movies ever.
Classic B
OG,
films, B horror movies ever. I agree.
OG, black and white.
So I empathize with your situation, right? Obviously, you're not the only dad who has, a lot going on, so that you can care for your family in a way that they deserve, and that your hard work should produce, right? But at the same time, you're still a dad, and those moments that you're missing out on are really important. And even small ones, like let's wrestle in the front living room, like
Yeah.
10-minute opportunity to whoop a kid's ass is really something that's valuable to them. And you, right? It's a memory that you can live with and remember later on down the road. And so, yeah, it's definitely a struggle. I mean, I can speak personally about the same thing, but your responsibilities, because you have a full-time job, which is really 50 hours a week already.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
Especially with commuting,
yeah, and then getting home and having to work on your website and deal with new clients, which are super important to the sustainability of your business, right? So, and then having the kids, so I feel for you, but I also want to encourage you, and anybody else who's watching the show today, these things, they do pass. And, at the end of the day, it's about the big picture, and then getting, I guess, your family to understand what this is all about. It's not about missing out on anything. It's about creating an opportunity to miss out on nothing.
I really have been trying to get the family involved, like, hey, let's all do this together.
Right.
We're all kind of sucked into this endeavor, so let's do it as a group. And then we're spending time together doing something that's going to help all of us. So.
Yeah, that is absolutely great. So maybe you can share with me a little bit about your business itself. Let's see, we've already talked about it a little bit. Maybe you can share a little bit about why you got into it, and why it's super important for men and women, but to kind of maybe reach out to you.
Well, I just before I turned 40, I was pretty heavy, and decided, on my 40th birthday, I really wanted to be in shape. And
Oh, so you were fat.
I was fat. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd gained a lot of weight. I wanted to hit 40, and I had a goal of not only not being as fat, but also hitting my PRs in the gym with the 3 big lifts of like deadlift, squat, and bench press.
Right on.
So I hired this personal trainer, Josh, who I think you've interacted with at some point.
Okay.
And then got my testosterone checked, and my testosterone was really low. Like, for those of you that know the numbers, it was I think 240 at that time. So
wow. So tell us what the good numbers should be for those guys listening who haven't had their testosterone check but should. Yeah. Where should they be at?
So obviously, as you get older, it goes down. The American Society of Urologists has defined low testosterone as below 250, but for most guys, if they're under 400-ish, they're going to start to feel it. And
things like vitality, energy, drive, sleep over, just fatigue.
Yeah, weight gain, decrease in muscle mass, libido drops, irritability is a problem.
Right. I'm always irritable.
Yeah, that's a different problem though for you. A neighbor was talking recently about how she was worried if her husband went on testosterone, he would get this rage. But what we find a lot is the reality is, for guys who have very low testosterone, they tend to be the ones that get very irritable and angry. It's sort of a parallel with depression that they're dealing with. So anyway, my testosterone was low, and I went through what a lot of guys went through. Got a patient this past weekend that went to his primary care, who blew him off. Who he went to a urologist who was like, here's some Viagra. Don't worry about the testosterone. But his was really low, like incredibly low. And finally, I came across a men's clinic, and that took about 8 years maybe before I found one. That I guess it just wasn't that common online. I had a lot going on, so it wasn't a priority. But so I found this men's clinic. They put me on testosterone, felt fantastic,
Right
lost
on.
all that weight. And
But testosterone doesn't help you lose weight.
no, not directly. But I was working out a lot at that time. So it's maybe 2017 or so. I was working out a lot, got on testosterone, got on an HGH peptides from Moreland, which was fantastic. And I highly recommend to anybody who wants it, including yourself, Brandon, when you're working out again.
Yeah.
You're working out right now?
I'm actually doing a lot of walking.
When you're mowing lawns?
Yeah, when I'm out there outside.
And
I play pickleball.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that one. So the men's clinic eventually hired me to help see patients.
Wow.
So they hired a doc that I worked with at the emergency room, and then he hired me to help out at the men's clinic. And I was a little sketched out by how they ran the business. And so when I did research online with other men's health companies, I felt like that was the norm, that they were a little bit sketchy. They weren't checking labs and making sure guys were safe, and didn't fully understand what they were getting. And their dosing was all over the place, and it wasn't really personalized for what the guy was dealing with. And so it was just like a one size fits all kind of approach. So talking to another friend who was a physician's assistant, we just decided, hey, why don't we just start doing this on our own? And we opened our own telemedicine clinic in conjunction with a physical clinic in Missouri, where he was at.
So a brick and mortar facility.
Brick and mortar in Missouri, plus the telemedicine that I was covering. And then eventually I just split off to do the telemedicine portion. So that's what I've been doing for right about the past year. Just telemedicine, and added my 9th state today. We can get a little this is funny. I think I had to respond to this state because they gave me that license so fast,
right,
that I responded to them. Are you sure? Did I miss something? Do I need to submit some more stuff? Because you gave me a license, but it took a week where normally it takes 3 months or longer.
Wow.
So I was like, please don't take this the wrong way, but I'm like, is there a mistake? But that's Colorado. So
hey man, that's cool. They give
yeah.
away weed like it's going out of style. So why not a telehealth license?
I'm in Washington State, Brandon.
Oh yeah, good point. It's like they sell that next to the now and later
dispensary like a block from me.
That's so funny. So you actually have a website. It's called valenvitalhealth.com. Yes. And you have services for weight loss. You have services for men and for women. And you also offer immediate care for those people in your general
area. Telemedicine, anybody, anywhere.
Okay.
So
in 9 states, including Colorado.
For 9 states. It's minor kind of telemedicine, urgent care. So stuff that I can see with you on the phone, like, hey, I get UTIs all the time. This feels just like one of my normal UTIs, or I need a refill of my birth control, or I've got a sinus infection, stuff like that. That's really easy to get.
Cool website. Look at that guy right there.
That is that I'm going to shout out the photographer. That's Sean Simpson. He was a Navy buddy of mine. We were stationed in Korea together. I love that guy. He did a great job on that photo. Amazing photographer. He took my son's.
Well, cheers to you, Sean Simpson.
Yeah, he took the baby pregnant mom pics of Silas when Silas was in the womb, and they turned out pretty awesome. So
that's cool. How do you get the camera up there?
Of the mom, just of the mom.
Oh, not of the child.
not of
the
the child,
womb.
in the mom.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense now. Two dads having a beer. Welcome
Yep.
to the show. If you guys are
Yep.
just getting in here, I have Rob Swan, the medical director of Valen Vital Health, who is also a dad. How many kids you have?
2.
What are their names and how old are they? And
Uh,
how much do you love them? One more than the other?
That's tough, man. Adigan is my daughter. She's my first kid. Um, Man, she and I were so tight till she hit adolescence. And then I think, like a lot of people experience with teenage daughters, she sort of
Yeah,
pulled away. And she is about to be 16 in
unreal.
5 weeks. So, yep. And then Silas, who's my buddy, we're pretty tight now. Inseparable, I would say, when he's around. He is 10.
What a cool couple of ages.
Yeah.
I know that the teenage girls are always hard to kind of cope with because they're coping with their own life, which is changing so rapidly in their frontal cortex build out, right? So frontal lobe build out, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, they're just surrounded by a world of this is cool, right? And this is not cool. And they're trying to really kind of deal with who they are. 10-year-old boys, on the other hand, they are some of the funnest kids
Yeah, he is a
in,
lot of fun.
and just unbelievable like candidness. And I love that. So tell me, I mean, last time we spoke, we talk about
Yeah.
him showing you his nutsack quite frequently. So let's not talk about
Constantly.
that one today.
I've got
But
I've got a couple new stories about him.
I would
So,
love to hear a new story about your son.
so he accompanied me on a house call visit to a patient, and
Nice.
with, of course, with the patient's permission. And
Right on.
we walk in, and the very first thing he says is like, "Why does it smell like poop in here?" So,
You can't
um,
make that up. That's
no.
funny.
And then got a call from his school. His mom conveyed this story. She got a call from his school on Friday. He had, I guess, while the kids were away at recess, he was in the room, in the classroom,
Yeah.
and he had taken all the screws out of one of his classmates' desk. And
How did he have like a screwdriver, or did he have a multi-tool that he
this
cooks with him all the
dude,
time?
this dude is resourceful, man. He takes stuff apart. That's his thing.
Yeah.
And so he took all the screws out, and the kid comes back and sits in it. Of course, it collapsed on him. Nobody was
I'm
harmed.
I'm trying to picture this.
However, however, Silas was required to put the desk back together, which he did. So
Nice. Look at that. He's a
yeah,
tinkerer.
he is, man. He can take anything apart, put it back together. He repurposes stuff all the time. He's kind of brilliant in that way.
Pretty
It's
amazing.
really annoying when it's something that you wanted, however, and
Yeah.
now it's
And
taken apart.
now you have to wait for it to be put back together.
Oh, it won't be. He could put it back together. It won't be functional the
There's
same way.
extra parts.
Yeah.
There's extra like that's me now when I build something. I usually have extra stuff, and my wife's like, "What about these parts?" I'm like, "It's working." So
Yeah,
I guess those parts weren't really necessary.
absolutely.
So that's awesome. That's a good story, man. It's definitely one of those dad moments that you can live with forever. And I'm a connoisseur of fun memories with my kids.
Got any
In
good
fact,
ones since last time we spoke?
so I was just looking back at, thanks to Facebook, who reminds me of these things that happened so long ago, right? And I had taken my son and my daughter out to pizza one day, and we were just playing like on the counter, like with a straw, and you roll up
Yeah.
the paper, and you make a little ball, and then you play like air hockey with a
Oh, I
straw, and
like
you
this. Okay.
blowing it
Yeah.
across the
Yeah.
table.
I dig it.
And I felt like we played that game for an hour with the pizza getting cold, like because it was more fun to just play than it was to eat.
Yeah.
And just memories like that I just cherish and I think are
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
And,
That's awesome.
yeah, I probably at that time I was definitely heavier as well, and I was probably dying for the pizza, but the kids wanted to play, so we
Was
kept
it
playing.
was it Chuck E. Cheese? Because
No,
their
man,
their pizza sucks.
there's no Chuck E. Cheese around here. There's one in Ocala. I guess that's
That's
what
the
the
closest one.
closest. Yeah,
Gainesville
I
doesn't
think
have
so.
one.
No, they don't have that. We have the Dave and Buster's now, so
Oh,
that's
nice.
cool. But
Okay.
on a side note, I'd love to start a new business.
Mm,
My wife won't let me spend any money until the business that I own now is paying for itself on a
right.
high level. But it'd be a cool adventure. Like I wanted to do a virtual reality race car
Mm.
simulator with like food and beer. So like drinking and driving is cool.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah. I'm glad that you took that tack with it. um,
Right. It's indoor drinking and driving. You're
would
not actually
you,
on the roads.
so would you be like in a car, like in
Yeah,
a,
it'd be like a total simulator, like full motion racing simulator with
yeah,
either virtual reality goggles or TVs, and you're racing Formula One race cars. You'd be racing, GT3,
that's
GT4 race
cool.
cars. It'd be cool, right? And it's totally immersive and safe.
The,
And
the Boeing Museum here has that for flight, and it's a,
yes,
like a box on a crane, and so it can move in 3 dimensions. It is freaking cool, and it makes me so sick when I'm in it.
yeah. So I have a hard time, and I think, speaking of that, do you guys have any like roller coaster amusement parks where you live?
Mm,
Obviously, we have plenty in Florida.
none.
None. How far away do you have to go to get on a roller coaster? Have your kids
Uh,
felt the joy of a roller coaster?
yeah, I've taken them to Disney,
Okay.
in Florida, of course. Uh,
Okay.
but the actually, you want a funny story about my son
Yeah.
based on that? So he gets on these kicks where he watches like these YouTube videos of something. And he was on this kick in Orlando. There's the slingshot ride where it's like two people in a seat with a
Yeah.
slingshot and they shoot him up into the air. And usually like one of the people will pass out on that. Have you seen those videos?
Yes, I have.
So he was just fascinated by the fact that these people would pass out.
And he was
And
like, I want to do that.
well, we went to Disney, and on the way home at night near the hotel, you could see one of the slingshots going up, and he's like, "I want to do that." And he was, God, he was like 7, maybe.
Wow.
And so,
Brave kid.
so he didn't say, "I want to pass out" at that time. He's just like, "I just want to do that." And
Right.
I was like, man, I'm gonna be like the best dad ever. I
That's
did
a
roller
dad.
coasters and stuff all growing up. Let's go do it. So we
Let's get
dropped.
ready to dive into a dad venture right
And
there. That's for
it
real.
was like the end of a Disney day. So it's like 10 o'clock at night or 10:30 at night. It's late. So we went over to the slingshot and we were standing there and two things happened. One, I looked at the price and it was like $120 for the two of us.
Right.
And then I watched it go up and I was like, "Mm, that price is too." I was like, "Silas, it's too expensive, man." And he's like, "But dad, I want to pass out." And I was like, "Is that why you want to do this? Just so you can pass out?"
Did you
He's like,
choke him?
"No, but I made one of the biggest regrets of my life. I chickened out, man. We didn't do it. We just
Man.
watched it and I was like, I can't
Well,
justify spending $120.
cheers to safety first.
But the reality was I just was chicken.
Feathers all over the place, and your son knows it.
Yep.
No, that's okay.
So
Hey, listen,
no roller coasters locally.
no, that's unfortunate. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the essence of what I was saying. I can't really go on those virtual reality roller coasters, but like regular roller coasters, I'm okay with, but I'd prefer not to, just in case.
Yeah.
But
Have
all of
you
my
have you
kids
done
love it. Love
have you
it.
done any other or do you guys have locally any other VR entertainment things like
No, not here. No.
really? Oh man,
Yeah,
they're
there's
cool. They're
Yeah,
cool.
they would be pretty awesome to take a hold of. I mean, obviously, if you have one in your house, you got a PlayStation 5, you can have a VR
Oh,
system in your house. So
yeah, we just
they
got an
offer that.
Oculus Rift that I can't get to work.
Oh, well, you didn't just get it. You just got to return it. That's what you got to do. But hey,
Uh,
listen, man, I appreciate you coming in. I know we're only going to be doing like a 30-minute show today. But this is just kind of like one of those things where it was impromptu. I wanted to make sure that I had my good buddy on just to kind of one, test and see if this works. And two, because I like talking to you.
yeah, same.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on another episode of Two Dads Having a Beer. I want to give a big round of applause and a huge cheers to my guest dad, Rob Swan of Valen Vital Health.
Salud.
Listen, you should definitely go and visit him out. He's a huge proponent of your health and your future being well-rounded, and he can definitely help you out. Listen, keep dadding, keep sipping, and keep playing along with this dad game.
Hey, plug that book before you go.
Oh yeah. I guess I should talk about that. I wrote a book.
Yeah, I just did a thing.
I just did a thing. It's a book. You know, it took me a while to write,
No
but
biggie.
no biggie, right?
Everybody
You can
does
find
it.
it on Amazon. It's in paperback. It's in ebook.
What's it called?
It's called Playbook for a Wicked Good Lawn: Contemporary Lawn Care Advice for Savvy Homeowners.
And just for those who don't know, where did that title come from? Playbook for a Wicked Good Lawn.
So it came out of the dome, but it's a step-by-step guide to help homeowners, you know, kind of understand the best practices for making sure that their lawns look as good as it would if a professional was taking care of it. And I figured I'd just share that knowledge with anybody who wants to learn. So
I'm just thinking that
thanks for letting me plug it.
The word wicked was an interesting choice. Is that related to something, or?
Yeah, it is. It is related to something. So this is Two Dads Having a Beer, not the other podcast that I have called The Tool Shed by Wicked Good Lawn Care, which is the company that I own. Right.
Okay.
So
Now it makes sense.
But thanks for making me remind me of the things that I do. I don't drink beer while I'm mowing lawns unless it's my own.
Probably good. It's probably good. You don't even mow your own lawn. You have a robot doing it.
Which is why I'm able to drink beer.
Touche.
Awesome. Well, listen, guys, thank you again for joining us. We'll be back next week with a brand new guest dad, unless Rob's back, in which case he's down to 6 beers. Peace.
Bye.